Hi everyone, it is Akshay here with another video, and I'm going to be talking about my July TBR. I know you're like, which one? Join TBR videos. Da, 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 da. I figured that there's always like 10 or so books that are priority books for me, and I guess that honestly is like a really set, solid TBR, and I was going to talk about those. I'm also going to mention books that are rolling over from June, so things that I started in June and have yet to finish. Before we get into it, though, I do want to recommend and encourage you to check out my bonfire as well as my Etsy shop to get yourself some merch and some bookmarks. And if you'd like to support the channel on a monthly basis, you might want to consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon member. Starting with my rollover books or my in progress books, we have The Faithless by C.L. Clark. I want to say like maybe 25% of the way through that one now. It is the sequel to The Unbroken. We follow Terrain, who is part of, in book one, she is part of the Kwazali people, but she was conscripted by the Baladarian Empire, who actually is ruling over Kwazal. They are a colony, and some rumblings of rebellion and revolution are cropping up, and Terrain has to decide, like, is she going to be part of the liberation of her people, or is she going to stay as a soldier for the people who colonized her land, even though she's been away for like a decade because she was conscripted as a child? And then we follow Luca. She is the princess of Baladare. She is set to be the queen. She is the heir. However, her uncle has been acting as regent in her stead until she comes of age, and it doesn't look like he's trying to give up power. So she is trying to navigate the colonization, if you will, the politics of Kwazal being a colony of Baladare, while also securing her legacy as the next queen. And of course, they come into contact, and there's a little bit of a romance. Well, not a little bit. There is a romance between the two, and they are essentially on opposite sides of this, very much opposite sides of this. And then I'm also in the middle of Off Script by Ava Freeman. I talked about this in my Geisha TBR. And this one follows a playwright and a PR manager, and they get into accidentally, well, kind of not accidentally, but they end up in the same Uber, and they strike up a conversation, and a budding romance happens. And so they start, oh my gosh, a budding romance begins, and then something else is supposed to happen. I haven't reached that part that kind of threatens the relationship, and they have to make a choice or like find out how to navigate said relationship amidst their like professional careers. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Then we have Year of the Mer by L.D. Lewis. This one is kind of like a light retelling of The Little Mermaid, but not really. It's set in a world where Ariel did come to land and marry Prince Eric, and then you have her descendants who are part Mer, but of course they have legs, and they are the ones who are ruling over the land people, if you will. And so there's some tension there because the people are like, are you really us? Are you really not? And then we have the actual, like, there's still mer people in the ocean, and there's some tension there as well. And we follow the crown princess. She is set to take the throne, and she's navigating some politics. I'm very much in the beginning of this book, but it is funny, it's interesting. There's multiple perspectives between our main character Yemi and her girlfriend, but also bodyguard Nova. All right, getting into my priority TBR, these are 10 books. First one being Son of the Morning by Akwaeke Emezi. This is a romantasy. Let me just look at the synopsis real quick. All right. Steamy paranormal romance set in the Black South. There we go. A bold new foray that takes us on a journey of magic and fantasy from the Whispering Creeks outside the city of Salvation to the depths of hell itself. I knew there was something about hell, because I was like, it looks like there's a demon or like a fallen angel on the cover, kind of. And so we have Lee. She's raised by the Kincaids. They are a formidable and powerful clan of Black women, and there's some kind of secret amidst her like childhood. Then she meets Lucifer. Hello, there we go. And he is masquerading as head of security for her friend. And then there's Leviathan, and there's a little bit of a romance. I don't know if it's a why choose or like a polyamorous situation, because on the actual book, she's hugging one man on the cover, but then if you turn it around, the other man is also on the cover. And so I don't know. I don't know why everybody's. I have questions, and I guess I need to read it to find out. Then, of course, we have Guardians of Dawn, Yuli. This is the third book in the Guardians of Dawn series. I mean, you're good. You can keep going there. the third book in the Guardians of Dawn series, which is like Sailor Moon, very much Sailor Moon inspired. And we follow Yuli. I'm pretty sure this is a light retelling of Snow White. They're all retellings of light retellings, if you will, of a fairy tale. The first one was Cinderella. The second one was Beauty and the Beast. The third one, from the clues that I've gathered, is Snow White. And then I don't know what the fourth one is, actually. I guess I'll figure that out when I get to it. But yeah, very much looking forward to continuing this journey, especially with Yuli as the main character. I don't know if there's a romance in this or if it's more of a former friends reconnecting type of thing. Then we have By the Bootstraps by Alexa Martin. This one follows a woman who has decided that she's going to like leave her life and buy a farm in Texas. And she's like, must be the way to happiness. And it's a rundown farm, it's a rundown building. And the only handyman in the town also like does not want to be a cowboy, but his family is the biggest ranching family in the town. And he's like, I'm gonna help you clean up your house so you don't die. And then they develop a romance as he's in and out of her house. Then they all fall in love at the end, which I feel like did I talk about that in my gay shit TBR? I don't know. We have a woman and she is in an open relationship with her long-term partner, and she starts falling for the one person she's not supposed to, who is her long-term partner's best friend. And then she's also falling for his girlfriend, and she's trying to like figure out her life and live. I'm looking forward to that one. Also, the cover is just a lot of fun. Then we have Priest by Bre Shadae. This is a Black romance. We have Priest Richards, who is a 28-year-old CEO of PR security. His vision is clear and he understands the value of taking a loss to gain what you truly want. And we have Satisa Andrews, who loves her family to a fault. And they just happen to cross paths. Their souls happen to cross paths. There we go. And they gotta decide if they want to continue. I've also heard nothing but great things about this, which is why it's on the list. Then we have another Black romance, and that is Embers by A.H. Cunningham. One hot night at Carnival changes everything. Ayala Campbell and Malik Johnson had known each other since high school. Ooh, friends to lovers. And their friendship has been lasting decades. One fateful October night during Carnival, Ayala decides to let loose, but she never dreamed her best friend would be the man to set her world on fire, or that it would change her life forever. Now, the consequence of that night has the cutest cheeks Ayala has ever laid eyes on. Oh my gosh. And after giving birth, she's ready to reclaim herself in her passion of photography. Okay. And then she is having trouble with her mother. Malik has returned to the Merchant Marines for his next tour, weighted by many responsibilities, none bigger than Ayala and his unborn child. The more time he spends away, the more he realizes there's more to life than a parent. So he like dipped. Oh wow. And then he comes home and is ready to co-parent. Well then. And of course she's hesitant because like, dude, you dipped the first time. Next one, like TBR, is The Wongs versus the World by Jade Chang. This is by, let me see. It's about a wealthy but fractured Chinese immigrant family that had it all, only to lose every last cent. And they take a road trip across America that binds them back together. Okay. I know this is probably gonna like break my heart in half and put it back together. And like I said before, I'm always here for a good time, even if that involves some sniffles along the way. The next book on this list is Heart of a Goon by Jahquel J. This is in that same Delgado world. We are following Goon, who has been a beloved character for the entire series, and he's finally gonna get the girl he's been chasing since like the beginning of time. And her name's Zora. No, or is it Zaya? Zora? Zoya. Her name is Zoya. And she, at the end of the Quasem series, she discovers something, and that's going to like propel us into the Heart of a Goon. So there's a little bit also of like a mystery thriller aspect, but of course there's the romance. Very much looking forward to that. The ninth book on this list is Love by the Book by Jessica George, and it says friendship is a love story you can count on. We have Remy and we also have Simone. Remy is a best-selling author. Her novel is based on her three best friends, and her agent and publisher are, of course, clamoring for a follow-up. And her biggest inspiration, her friends, end up like just like not fleeing, but their lives move on. One moves, one gets pregnant, and one gets back together with her awful boyfriend. And then we have Simone. She's a kindergarten teacher with a passion for kids, and she has a well-paying side hustle that gives her all the comforts that she desires. And she has a very close knit family. And then the nature of her work, her side hustle, which now I'm wondering like what that is, but I feel like I have a theory. Once her side hustle comes to light, her family cuts her off and she's left adrift. And it is the friendship between Remy and Simone, and they literally bump into each other at a bookstore, which is great. I'm looking forward to this. I love a female friendship story. I really do. Then the last book on this list is To Ride a Rising Storm by Moniquill. Blackgoose. This is the sequel to Shape a Dragon's Breath, and that is a historical fantasy, like steampunk historical fantasy that takes place in a world where colonizers are training dragons. They like have this academy, and our main character, she is part of one of the indigenous tribes, and she finds a dragon egg. And in her culture, being able to find a dragon egg and bond with that dragon is this like sacred thing. And she goes to the dragon school, the dragon training academy, in order to learn what she can from them, in order to kind of circumvent their laws and make sure that her dragon, her community are taken care of and no one can threaten them, because she like doesn't have the proper knowledge, if you will. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else Anakus gets up to in To Ride a Rising Storm. And that is it. That is my July TBR, the 13 books that I am prioritizing and really going to try and finish during the month of July. Let me know, what are you trying to finish or read during the month of July? Do we have any TBR picks in common? Have you read any of the books on my TBR? If you're interested in getting yourself some merch or some bookmarks, make sure to check out my Bonfire or my Etsy shop. And if you like to support the channel on a monthly basis, you might want to consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon member. And I will see you in another video. Bye.
Weakness showing. I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me.